people anymore. And that's where it started. I went from being the best student in grade 7 to being thrown out in grade 12 for punching out the teacher. You know, it just shows you where my morals went out the window. I didn't become like my brothers. I became 10 times worse than my brothers. They wouldn't even hang around me. I was so bad. So, through the high school, like later on, in grades 11 and 12, just before I got kicked out, I did start drinking because of peer pressure. But after I got kicked out of high school, a friend of mine and me, we took a train and we went out west to Vancouver, right to Maine and Hastings. That's you know, the most drug and peasant place in Canada. So we stayed there for a year or so and just basically learned more garbage about the street, did more drugs and that. Just I was going downhill, and I'm still only like 16, 17 years old. So I only stayed out in Vancouver for about 7, 8 months. Then I moved back to Oshawa. By then, my dad was put in an old age, like seniors home, and my mom was living by herself, so I stayed there a bit. But, you know, I was still heavy into drinking. And by this time, I'm 17, but I'm hanging around like 35-year-old men and that. And a lot of them were the St. Joyce Bike Club and people like that, so not very good people. Anyways, I started robbing stores. Like I said, none of this is I'm proud of, but it is my story. I started robbing stores, Becker stores, started robbing people. I mean, in and out of jail. I don't know how many times, I can't even count the number of times I'll be there for 9 months, a year. And it never got any better. So, not this time, like I say, not even 20 years old. I honestly didn't think I'd live till 25 and probably didn't care if I did. You know, some of the crazy things that I did, like just to show you the insanity. You know, insanity is you keep doing the same thing over again and you think you're gonna get a different answer. You know, how can you keep drinking and doing drugs all the time and expect you're gonna get a different answer? You know, I'd drive home drunk in the car and I sideswiped the car, and who was it? It was a cop car that I sideswiped. Little did I know they turned around, come and got me out of the car and charged me with that. But I don't know, it's just the nonsense. I got charged with robberies, got charged with assault. So over the next 5 years, I was in and out of jail. Finally, 1983 came, so that would have put me at 23. I'm thinking maybe it's time to try to get a little bit better in my life, because my mom, she was a rock. She just loved me to pieces. And 1983, I found my wife, or she found me, I should say. We were at a party, and that's where we met each other, her and I. And I ended up leaving. I got in a car accident, so I had to run away from the car accident back to the party, and I needed a ride home. So my wife that I ended up meeting that night gave me the ride home, and we've been together ever since, 38 years. So imagine what I put her through over these next 38 years. She's a good woman. We ended up at the same time that I met the wife. We got married in 1984. I started working at Chrysler then too, so I had a good job. But, you know, my nonsense still didn't stop. I still had the same bad attitude where, you know, I didn't really like anybody. I thought I was this big tough guy, and I thought I had to put on that persona. Because I really believe it was ever since the fighting incident, Matt, that I just had to put on this whole persona of I had to be tough. I was going to get you first before anybody got me. And that's just the way that I live my life. You know, it's sorry to say, but that's what happened. Well, my temper was really bad. You know, so even after I got married, we bought a house. I still ended up going to jail a few times. for fighting and stuff like that, just because, drinking and my temper. But the union would always save my job, so that made it worse, because then I'm thinking I'm untouchable, because I keep working and everything else, and nothing happens really, just a little bit of a penalty. So in the year 2000, the Satan Stories ended up becoming the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. So like I say, I used to hang around Satan Stories all the time, but I never joined them. But the year that the Hells Angels came to Ontario, I joined them. And it wasn't just joining them again, I had to go to the top of them. So there's the president, and then there's the sergeant of arms. Sergeant of arms is the person that looks after all the muscle, anything that's got to be done mean, or any bombing, fighting, anything, he looks after. Well, I was a sergeant of arms for the 20 years that I was with the Hells Angels. So it just shows you my state of mind. I can remember even one time I wanted to take my wife and kids down to Mexico for a holiday. I'd never taken a four bus anywhere. So we're on a plane, we're going to Mexico. We land on the tarmac there in Mexico, and all of a sudden everybody's getting up to get out of the plane. They tell us to sit back down. The fella rallies come on the plane, come and got me and handcuffed me. Said I wasn't welcome in Mexico. Imagine that, the place that was built on cartels and everything else, they wouldn't allow me in the town. So that's how bad I'd become. That I was knowing that well that they didn't want this piece of crap in their city. Anyways, the family stayed. I had to come back on the next flight. So I make a joke out of it where I say I'm the only guy that went to Mexico for breakfast and come home. So, like you say, and after when I come home from Mexico, I was still playing with the club. I went all over with the Hells Angels, in like 10 different countries, traveled the world like a rock star. But how deceiving the devil is, you know what I mean? You think that you're living at the top, but really I still had this big hole that I couldn't fill, because I still wasn't happy. I knew I was putting on this show that wasn't really me, but that's just the way that I live my life. So he's so cunning and deceiving, the devil is, you know what I mean? I look at it now. Before I didn't look at it that way, because I never knew nothing about Christianity or religion. I'd never been in a church in my life. So all I knew was violence and the way I carried on. So after I come back from Mexico, a couple of weeks later, the family come back, and we got a big bus going down in our town. So they come and raided me and took down, raided the house, kicked the windows in, shot the doors out, all that crap goes along with it. But I'm saying that because just think about my poor wife has to go through all of this stuff. So out of that, I ended up getting a 9-year prison sentence. Now that's the part that really done me in, because doing a year here, 2 years there, I lived with it. But a 9-year sentence, that takes quite a toll on you. And I'm not even going to get into what the prison's like, because that's another whole story right there, because I almost went insane in there, because I ended up spending 9-10 months in the hole in there at a time for being in fights or fighting with a guard. Just more insanity. But anyways, I made it through the prison system, got home, and then that's when I ended up deciding to quit the club, because I seen that the only people that really cared about me were my wife and kids. And I should have known that all along. So when I come home from prison that last time, I started running a gym in Oshawa, a boxing club. But the police just wouldn't leave me alone. The police presence, they just thought I was always up to something no matter what I did. So it was time to move. So that's when my wife and I took the kids and we moved out Ottawa way. So, it ended up being great for us. But at the beginning it was the same, because I wasn't with the club anymore, but I still hadn't worked on me. I hadn't changed me at all yet. excuse me. I still hadn't worked on me yet, you know what I mean? I still hadn't changed anything of me. I just thought that that's the way I was going to be the rest of my life, I guess, just the way I am, a mean, miserable old man. But, so we're living out there Ottawa way, and like I say, I'm not with the club anymore, but I still doing a bit of drugs, selling a bit of drugs, and I'm still hanging around a wrong crowd. So, I get my window shot out, like I'm driving home one night, and a shotgun blast goes through my front windshield. Obviously the good Lord's with me because it missed me by inches. I just had shrapnel all over me and broken glass picking out of me. But I didn't get hit by that anyway, so somebody was on my side. And then it was just, let's say a year after that, I'm driving, I get onto the 401 from home, and I'm going down, just get on our road, Carmen Road. I'm on it for about 2 miles, and somebody had screwed with my steering or brake lines, or something was screwed up in the car where I couldn't steer it. Ended up in a single car accident, but it was end over end, and I ended up hitting a culvert on the other side and in a ditch filled with water. So they had to cut me out of the jaws of life. They pronounced me dead at the scene. Or can you imagine my wife getting that call? Her husband's dead. But the good Lord again, 3 days later, I walked out of the hospital, if you can believe that. He's a good God, let me tell you. And still not realizing that at the time, because I get out and I still do dope for probably another month or so. I just couldn't give in. But the thing that brought me to my knees was I started getting these anxiety attacks and panic attacks. I don't know what brought them on. Doesn't really matter. All I know is that it brought me to God. That's all I know. Which is a great thing. Well, I couldn't go take a shower by myself. The wife would have to come and sit on the toilet with me. Anytime I slept with the gun on my chest because I was scared. Don't know what I was scared of. You know, and that was a terrible, terrible way to live. So one night, the wife went to bed and I'm sitting down there on the couch. I said, Lord, I don't know who you are, or I've never even asked for nothing before. If you can ever help me with this, I can't live like this anymore. If you can help me, I'll give you my life for the rest of my life, please, Lord. I went to sleep that night on the couch. I'll tell you, I woke up the next morning, and it's hard to believe. Like somebody told me this story, I'd have to go, but I'm telling you, I'm living proof. I woke up the next morning, I was 150 pounds lighter, like somebody just took a weight off my shoulders, and it was just, nothing bothered me anymore. I was just a new, changed man. You know what I mean? That hole in my heart was filled now. Yep, I found out that's what I needed. That hole that I was walking around with, the hole in my heart. I had to have the Holy Spirit to fill it. That's what needed to fill it. That's the only thing that will make a person whole, is the Holy Spirit. So, you know, after that happened, I woke the wife up and said, hon, last night I prayed to God and asked for help, and you won't believe it. I'm a changed man. She's probably just thinking, oh, that's good. Like I've heard this so many times over the 30-something years. But I think she just watched carefully and seen that I did start changing, because right away, like, it's nothing to do with me. I didn't do any of this. Believe me, it was all the higher power. I stopped swearing immediately. Like, just little things I noticed when I hear somebody else swearing. I'm thinking, why do you got to talk like that? When I used to have the trucker mouth myself. But that just was taken away from me. I didn't watch violent movies anymore. Like, just all this little things like that were taken away from me automatically. my God, like, you just showed me that there's such a better way to live. I say I'm sorry for being a bit nervous, but we're getting her done. So I used to go to this little gym, only 20 people at the gym or whatever. And one man there that worked at the desk, and he said, have you ever thought about coming to church? Like, why would he ever ask somebody like me that? I would think, like, do you know who I am or who I think I am? It was funny, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how he would ever read that I'd want to go to church with me being a biker and that. But anyways, the seed was planted, right? So couple times, couple days, couple weeks go by, and finally, after praying, saying that prayer and asking for more help, then I knew that the next step, I guess, was finding a church. So I went to church with this man, and just blew me away. Like, as soon as I started going, they gave me the Bible, first Bible I've ever had in my life, and I just started reading it, and I couldn't get enough of the Bible. Like, it just lit right up to me, like and it still does to this day. Like, I'm hoping that I never lose this being a baby, or whatever they want to call it, because I just love reading the Bible and I love hearing new stories. And I don't think after 10 years I'm going to stop doing this, because you learn something every day and it's so powerful, it's so great. But so when this guy planted the seed and I started going to church, right away I started getting busy at it. I took the Alpha course, which was good, because then I found out more about God. And I think of one of the verses that really helped me was Isaiah 41. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So many comforting things I got from him by reading it. It's exactly what I needed from all these anxiety attacks that I was having. Hearing all these comforting words, he knew exactly what I needed to hear, so it just worked out so well. Like I say, I also did an online Bible study with a couple of my friends that are here tonight to come and join me, and thank you guys for coming. That to me was, I think they do realize, because I've told them, it was such a big help for me that's really what got me through a lot of my struggles. That was this online, because we're so helping each other so personally, and if we had any problems or anything, we could help each other. And it was just such a big help. And we called ourselves the Brothers Keepers, so it was really good. We still do it online on Mondays, just a group of men sharing each other's trials and hopes, and it works really well. So after about 7 months of this church, I wasn't feeling great at this church for some reason, and I don't even know why I gotta say this, but I ended up moving churches, so I did. And I didn't even know you could, because like I say, I'd never done nothing like this before. I thought, once you commit to something, you gotta stay there forever. But, I kept complaining that, they didn't really care too much about me. I think they were intimidated by who I used to be or something. But anyways, another man, Pastor John King, says, Shawn, go and check out this church down by where you live. So I went to the Long Sioux Pentecostal Church, and from the day I walked in there, the wife started coming with me then too. So I got baptized in August of 2020. Or 2021, sorry. That was great. Yeah, that was a big highlight of mine. I tell you, that was big. So like I say, my wife started attending with me. She got baptized shortly after too. So we're attending church together. Things at home are, they never been any better. Like, it's just been so good, because we attend church together. We're working on our kids. They're in their 20s. The oldest one's 30 something. So I hope that we can get through to them, and the best way we're going to get through to them is lead by example. They've seen so many years of me being garbage. Now I just want them to see that Dad is a better caring man. I'm not this piece of garbage anymore. And what I said about wanting to be a garbage man. Now I have a house in Oshawa. It's called Redemption House of Recovery. It's for people on the street that need help. So you see, I am taking the garbage off the street and I'm helping them to find God and be a better person. So he did end up making me a garbage man in a way. Well, I think I'm getting pretty close to closing here, but I was thinking about the book of Ecclesiastes. For some reason, just the other night, I was reading that, and it stood out to me about King Solomon. He was one of the smartest men maybe ever. He had 700 wives, 300 girlfriends, and he's tried everything. Everything there was to do, he tried, and everything, he was so unfulfilled. He was bitter, he was exhausted, he was frustrated. That reminds me of exactly like I was, like so many other people are in this world. You try everything, but you're still not happy. Why? Because what you need is you need Jesus. Like it says here, the meaning is found, not under the sun, S-U-N, but in the sun, S-O-N. That's so cool. But thanks to Jesus, I found true peace and purpose for my life. I like to just close in